Hello, everyone. I'm back again with Alejandro Salcedo, who will walk us through his investment analysis of the big store chain called Walmart. So, Alejandro, I'm sure everybody knows what Walmart is. And just in case, please take it away.
Hello, Michelle. Hello, everybody. Again, it's a pleasure. Walmart to me is a great company because it has this book that I love, and I think it has influenced a lot of people in the retail industry, like is Made in America. I read this book probably 10 years ago, but for some reason, a lot of the stuff that I read in that book stuck in my head to just through teachings that helped me through the years. And I mean, for today, I reread it, so I got again like fresh stuff. But at the end of the day, it was very funny because I remember a lot of the stuff, so it was good. The book is called Made in America, and it was like the autobiography of Sam Walton that he wrote when like he was about to die, and definitely a very great book. I mean, for example, Jeff Bezos talks about it and many others. So what they do on some facts, I mean, it's an omnichannel retailer. So basically, they are, when you listen to their conference calls, they talk a lot about how they are being integrating like the online shopping with the um, shopping in the stores, and definitely they they've been doing a great job in the last year because being a company so big, I was checking the stock, and from about like a year to today, the stock has doubled in price. And it wasn't because, I mean, there was a little decline, but then um, it just got very, I mean, it just went up. I mean, double in price for a company this big is something pretty amazing. Um, and a lot of the reason I believe is because they are really integrating everything. In the other side, they do have a lot of competitors, and we're going to talk about a few later. I put some little numbers which makes me think a lot and definitely helps you um, analyze this company. But definitely very interesting how the stock has gone up for such a big company. They serve around 255 million customers per week, and they have 10,500 stores about, and they have three reportable segments: the Walmart USA, which is the most important, Sam's Club, and Walmart International. Sam's Club is basically a competitor to Costco straight away. Definitely Costco has more revenue, more members, was admired by Mr. Munger, so makes it very important up there. But for example, it's pretty interesting that in China, Sam's Club is leading to Costco. So I I believe they've been there for longer, but still, I mean, they're leading and doing a good job. They are present right now in 19 countries, and they have a subscription model called Walmart Plus, and this is different from Sam's Club. This is the subscription that you have in Walmart Direct to get like free delivery and different types of things. So what they sell, I mean, is divided in a couple of items: grocery, I mean, snacks, dairy, produce, general merchandise, entertainment, hardlines, fashion, health and wellness, pharmacy, over-the-counter drugs, medical products. One of the interesting things about health and wellness is they had some clinics. I don't know if you ever got a chance to see them in the Walmarts, but a couple of like 6 months ago, I believe, they closed all of them. Again, uh, the return on invested capital wasn't working, and this company is all, but they are still like looking every cent, and I think that's why they're still successful. So they just close them. They also have fuel and in-house advertising, supply chain, fulfillment capabilities, and financial services. And in this part is very interesting to to think that this is something very comparable with what Amazon does. So we're going to talk about three competitors that compete with Walmart, which are Dollar General, Amazon, and Costco. So definitely three different business models, but in some way they're all competing with them. I mean, and Walmart has a lot of competitors, so I mean they are all looking to get our dollars. So something super interesting that I found studying Walmart, and I think we did an episode on Costco a year ago or something, and I don't know if we talk about this, but it's pretty. I don't know if you knew, but about 70% of their properties are owned by them. So this is pretty interesting because, for example, Dollar General rents every space, but like Costco, Walmart, Target, they all own their spaces. So even though their P might be a little high, I mean, they are protected like with inflation. I mean, in most stores, they cannot get like rent hikes. So there might be good lands that, I don't know, maybe a construction company wants to buy from them so they can get some business there. So even though their P is a little low, when you see their depreciation, you understand that their cash flow is pretty high, because since they own the properties, they depreciate them by like 8 to 10% a year. So even though their net income is like 15 billion, their cash flow is about 30 with when you introduce the depreciation part. So something very interesting to look at in this company, because their PE is about 40, and for such a big company with not that big of prospects for growth, because obviously, I mean they are changing the big business mix, but I mean they really cannot like grow at rates above 5 to 7%. Another super interesting thing is that Walmart has been growing way more in operating profit than in sales, and the reason is because they are moving a lot to advertising, and they have this marketplace, and they have sellers, and they're fulfilling the orders for sellers. And again, advertising, for example, is a very lucrative business. So the income statement, I mean, we can see that they have a pretty interesting growth, and the membership and other income is what I was talking about, how that adds all the Sam's Club membership, the Walmart Plus, which is the Walmart part, and the advertising, fulfilling, and all that we talked about before. And again, as I said before, the net income is just 15 billion, but the cash flow is about 30 because of the depreciation. So the balance sheet, always love to see. Inventories is around 54 billion, and accounts payable is about 56. So basically, I mean, all the merchandise that they have, they are being financed by their suppliers. But property, plant, and equipment is definitely a big number. It's 110 billion, and it's because they own most of their stores and their DC distribution centers. Goodwill is pretty high as well. And one particular thing that I learned through studying Walmart is that, different from many other big corporations, they are being able to really integrate very well their buys. Like they bought a company in, I mean, not all of them has been successful, but for example, they bought Flipkart in India, and it's been massive success. And a lot of, I mean, Buffett and Munger always said that most of the corporate buys are just bad business, because it's just difficult to integrate them and to just make it work. But Walmart has been, I mean, obviously not 100% successful. I mean, there's been stories of companies that they just bought and lost the money, but some of the later ones have been pretty successful, which is pretty good and interesting for them to keep growing. As I said here, we can see the cash flow, and it's 35 billion. I was even lying, but so like when you see net income 15 billion and you see the P 40, but when you see that the depreciation charge is so high, you understand why this company is pretty, I mean, pretty, like the value is very high for just that net income. So again, as Buffett always say, I mean, accounting is the language of business. So to be able to understand the different income statements, the different statements, the financial statements, I'm sorry, is super important to understand. And that's what happened to with me, like with Walmart, because when I saw that P, I was like, how a company with such a low growth prospect is the value is so high, and this is what I believe is one of the biggest reasons, other than that they are really integrating the business mix with the omni-channel very well. Oh, sorry. So some of the comparisons, for example, with Dollar General, the stores, I mean, is 10,000 against 20,000, but the total sales are 648 billion against 38 billion. The average per store is 61.7 billion to 1.93 billion. But more than that, I mean, some of the big things is, as we can see, for example, the relationship between inventories and sales. We can see that proportionally, the Walmart inventory rotates way faster. They do not, Dollar General, as I said before, they do not own their spaces. And something we talk about the Dollar General that obviously Walmart has, and it mentioned in a couple of calls, but obviously they have a way more control because being bigger, they have somebody at the door, is theft. I mean, still people are stealing, but obviously the average compared to Dollar General is way lower. Walmart against Costco. I mean, here's pretty interesting because look at the numbers of stores. I mean, Walmart has 10,000 stores against only 861 warehouses, which is how Costco calls them. But the sales, I mean, are just, I mean, there are above 1/3 of what Walmart sells in just 1/10 of the numbers of stores. So definitely, I mean, as we always talk, Costco is definitely impressive. But still, I mean, Walmart is doing a good job. 281 million per store on average for Costco. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, it's almost $1 million a year. I mean, I can imagine just opening my doors every day and be like, oh, I'm gonna sell $1 million in just stuff from customers. So definitely, I mean, this is about Walmart, not about Costco, but doesn't I mean, it just keeps astounding me how impressive Costco is.
And Alejandro, was the average per store with Walmart 62 billion or million?
No, billion. No,
Okay.
average person. No. I apologize. 61 million. I mean, for everything is in millions. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have clarified that. But yeah, I mean, it's sales is 648 billion. The average per store is 661 million.
Okay.
And the net income is 15 billion. And for Dollar General is 1.6 billion, but 1.93 million. Yeah, I should have clarified that. But
Oh, no problem. I just want to make sure. So
yeah, no,
the
absolutely.
averages per store are in millions. So
Yeah.
Costco makes 281 million per store.
Yes, 200.
Okay.
I mean, well, that's their sales, not the net income.
Okay. Yeah. On the revenue. Okay.
Yeah. And then I wanted to compare it to Amazon because, as I said, I mean, when you listen to the conference calls, I mean, I feel that the one that they really wanted to take market share from is Amazon. They are really investing in online, trying to fulfill orders faster. I mean, obviously Amazon has a very big advantage, but there is a lot of market there that has been taken by Amazon that Walmart wants to get back. So even though Walmart through the years since the beginnings has been known for the lowest price most of the time, they definitely want to start to have in the mind of the consumer that they are a convenient place. So I mean, if you get to be like low price and convenient, I mean, that's a pretty interesting image that you want to have with your customers. So as I said, the operating income is without AWS. And something very interesting here is that as we see, I put inventories and accounts payable. As I said before, Walmart is basically being financed, like their inventories by their suppliers. In the other side, we see Amazon has a minus about 50 billion in working capital, which is how they use this. They use this as float, just like from Buffett's playbook. So basically, even though their operating income is very low, if you see proportionally with Walmart, they have 50 billion that they use as float, and they invest this, let's say, in AWS, which is a very profitable business. So let's say with this 50 billion, they make, I don't know, 5-10 billion, and it's just basically free money, just like Buffett will teach us to do. So super
Wow.
interesting.
So is Amazon having their suppliers mostly pay for the inventory? Like a lot of what, like you said, with Walmart, they're able to make the suppliers kind of foot the bill more. And in Amazon's case, they do an even better job at that.
Yeah, Amazon definitely, when you see their statements, I mean, their net income is, their operating income is pretty low, but how they manage their, like you said, I mean, the suppliers are paid basically, I don't know, 60 days after. So if you go to Amazon, they have 50 billion of merchandise that is like a plus, like if you go
Mhm.
to Walmart, I mean, they have, I don't know, they have 55 billion, and they owe 55 billion. So basically they are even. So basically the merchandise that is in Walmart stores is being financed, I mean, by their suppliers. In the better side, Amazon not only has all that merchandise owed to them, they have 50 billion plus. So like basically they get the money, they sell, and they stay with the money for like, I don't know, 60 days, and they just pay the supplier like 60 days after. And it's not because of the amount of days. I believe they both paid between 60 and 30 days. It's just because like the um the merchandise in Amazon just rotates so fast because of, I mean, how, I mean, they just become so good, and how they have tried to shift a lot of through just sellers. So they basically get the merchandise and just sell it, but it's just merchandise from a seller that is putting the money, so the capital. So Amazon is not really putting the capital. If you listen to Walmart, they are trying to do the same. So definitely, I feel Walmart is attacking Amazon in a big way, and through them having so many like physical spaces. I mean, I don't know how is the war going to end, but it's definitely very, very interesting. And the only thing is that obviously Amazon has AWS, which is so profitable that that's a different story. Was I clear, or
Yep, I think that works.
I
Yep,
confuse
thank
you
you.
more?
That was good. Thank you,
Okay,
Alejandro.
perfect. So I mean, as I said, I mean, just reading a book for presenting a company is definitely something very, very interesting, because you start to see all the principles, how the company was built. And it's funny because when Sam Walton started, I mean, he was the little guy. So I mean, he was the one who suppliers will not answer the calls. Nobody wanted to work for him. Nowadays, I mean, Walmart is seen as this big behemoth that don't pay well, or I don't know. I just feel there is a lot of maybe hate for them from certain people. But when you read the book, you see that the values, how they started, were definitely what made them what they are, because he was very, very like, I is is interesting because I mean there's this type of bosses that are like very strict and just cause fear, and there's other type of bosses that are like just like really easy, and I mean people just don't do what they say just because they're so nice and easygoing. But I think um and I mean I don't think, I mean Mr. Walton was just like that balance between like being strict, but I mean he was very admired by his employees, and one of the reasons was because he was always there. He will get there before them, he will leave before them. And definitely, I mean I feel now that I'm a parent or for employees, I mean there's nothing better than the example that you can show to the people that you want to follow you. So when I put make sure that you know your real estate contracts, because when Walmart started, they create got this. Mr. Walton bought this little store that he was not doing very well, but he with his good energy and his commitment just turned them around. But 5 years later, when this store was doing amazing, he didn't read the contract, and the owner of the place just said, son, you're good, and he didn't renew the contract, so he had to start from zero. So I mean, it was definitely a big lesson for him. As I said, after if you have the energy and the commitment, you can turn bad business into good business. I say a little against Buffett because you know how Buffett always preaches to just ride the boat that is not leaking. He wants to, if you want to choose between a great leadership and a great business, just choose a great business. And I mean, me being a Buffett devotee, I mean that's what I like. But I mean, definitely, Mr. Walton show sometimes you can turn them around. I rather I rather follow Mr. Buffett, but I mean, Walmart is a pretty interesting example for those out there that want to just take that ride of just turning the ship and making it successful. I'd rather just jump in a ship that is just successful. Study your competition. I mean, there's myths that Sam Walton spent more time in Kmart and just the big guys of those days than the CEOs of those companies, because he was always checking. And you know, in retail, everybody just is going to copy you. So as Mr. Buffett always says, I mean, there's businesses where you have to be smart once, let's say Coca-Cola, and there's retail where you have to be smart every day and you have to keep improving. And that's what Mr. Walton did. He would just every day he would wake up and see what could be improved in the stores. Push your team with good example and reward them when they possible. And from I mean, at the beginning he didn't grant the stock options, but after a while he started granting stock options. I think it was one of the first companies that did this, which obviously made a lot of the people at the beginning very rich. Which I mean, I think it's nothing better than that. Just being successful and sharing that with your employees. But I mean, I guess it's not always possible. A flight coach, I noted, because I mean he will not spend money in things that will not help the customer. When they went to visit, they went to sometimes at the beginning of the story to visit some vendors in New York, and it was very interesting how he will approach the trip, because he will get vendors from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. just showing his directors that, I mean, it was not vacation. It was like time to work, time to get everybody the most efficient, just get as many vendors in a day as you can. It wasn't just like a lot of people these days that maybe go to business trips and spend more time in the restaurant and just talking about something different from the business. I mean, he just wanted to show his culture, and the example from him was pretty impactful on everybody. And even though he didn't like that much technology in the way that, I mean, it was expensive, um, he was one of the first ones to adopt a lot of technology. But his director will have to prove to him that they needed it. You know, it's not like, oh, like these days that some I don't know, somebody proposes this new technology. I mean, he will make them just argument. Oh, we're gonna spend, I don't know, $10 million, but we're gonna reduce costs here, here, here. How much is that gonna look in 10 years? So he was like really to the numbers, very, very, very important. I mean, and in old days, I mean, this wasn't that common. And like he always says, which is a phrase that I always remember, is that the customer is the real boss. I mean, he is the only boss. I mean, in retail and most companies, I mean, the customer is the only boss because he's the only one who can just fire you by just going shopping somewhere else. So that is my presentation, Michelle.
Wow, that's really good to learn about. Yeah, and it's interesting how, I mean, Sam Walton was an operator, so he seems more hands-on than someone like Warren Buffett, who was a little more hands-off. Like Buffett would prefer to hire a great manager. So it sounds like Buffett would probably have loved to hire someone like Sam Walton to manage a big business subsidiary under Berkshire, but I don't know if their paths ever crossed. It would be interesting if, when Walmart was in its earlier days, I wonder if Buffett could have been interested in Walmart just because they had a really compelling retail model, but who knows? I guess it's just a different business model that they went in.
Yeah, definitely. I don't remember what year, but they did bought Walmart for a bit, but then they sold it. And I think Charlie and Buffett always talk of how they sold it too early. I don't remember exactly when it was, but I know they did own it for a bit and then just sold it. And yeah, Mr. Buffett was a big admirer of Sam Walton.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's amazing how it's very competitive with some of the others, like you mentioned. I think strongly with Costco and Amazon seem to be the big also gorillas in the room trying to compete with Walmart for market power. So like I even see a Costco right next to a Walmart, and I usually only go to the Costco. I don't usually go to the Walmart myself when even though they're right next to each other. But if there's something I know is really cheap, then I need to buy just the singular thing, not a wholesale item. I might go to Walmart here and there, but yeah, it's fascinating how these companies have different advantages. So the operating income looks stronger for Walmart compared to Amazon, and that's also fascinating. So it's it's amazing how all of those companies, it's no surprise, have done well. So maybe it's good to study all of them, and maybe you in one's investment portfolio, maybe we should consider not just only one of them, but maybe there can be multiple winners. So I think that it definitely makes an interesting investment case, and definitely something to keep studying among the Walmart and Costco and Amazon and even Dollar General that we discussed last time, an interesting retail model as well. So thank you very much, Alejandro, for covering these companies. It's definitely a very good lesson to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though like maybe not investing directly in Walmart or anything, but I mean just listen to their conference calls. I mean, you know what, let's say what technology they're using for their inventory or what is that big brand that they are selling. So this might give you like ideas, you know, how, because I mean, if it's selling good in Walmart, I mean, it's probably going to be a good business. For example, I know a brand that is sold at Walmart, and I seen it is called Garage Animals, and that is owned by Berkshire. I don't know if you ever heard about it. It's
Yeah.
like it's for
Mhm.
babies, and
Mhm.
yeah, it is in Walmart, and you go there and it's super cheap.
Yeah.
And, I mean, even though it's not directly investing in Walmart, I mean, you're investing in a brand that is in Walmart. But I mean that is a private brand, so I mean, it's not like we could invest in Garage Animals. But
Yeah.
I did bought a little shirt for my daughter that said my dad is the best.
Oh, that's
four
nice. Very
dollars
cute.
for $4. So
That's great. Yeah, it's great when it's a good deal. So for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, of course, this is not investment advice. This is just for learning and studying here. But definitely it makes a good case, I learned a lot about what you said with the cash flows and looking at the depreciation, and owning real estate seems to be the better way to do it than to have to lease store space. So definitely great lessons learned. So thank you very much, Alejandro.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to you, Michelle. It's a pleasure.
Take care.
Bye.